Hello everyone, Ubernat here, and welcome to Off Meta Junglers episode 2. Today we are going to be talking about one of my favorite champions. He was my most played jungler, second most played. He was one of my most played characters in Season 4, and that is Dr. Mundo. And for Dr. Mundo, I like to take flat armor yellows. It's pretty much your only option for yellows. You're going to take a lot of damage early game from those camps, and you really can't get away with scaling armor. It's not a good idea. Secondly, I like to take hybrid penetration reds. Now, you can actually take just about any red that you want. It's a little bit like a Mumu in the sense where you could put AD, you could put attack speed, you could put magic pen, hybrid pen. It doesn't matter. I prefer hybrid pen. You can take whatever kind of reds you want. Excuse me. Anyways, for quintessences, I like to take Spellvamp for all three. It's pretty much your best option as a jungler for Dr. Mundo. You get a lot of healing back towards that mid and late game. It helps a little with your early game. And all of your abilities cost health. Just keep that in mind. Everything hurts you, including the jungle and your own abilities. So it helps you get a little bit more back. Next, for our blues, we want to take scaling cooldown reduction, but it's more of just a preference thing. With scaling cooldown reduction, you get a lot of CDR late game on top of your Spirit Visage, on top of your jungle item, which will bring you to a great 35%, only 5% away from the CDR cap. And it's fantastic. Anyways, you could take flat CDR, you could take MR, you could take MR per level, you could take pretty much any kind of blue that you want. I mean, you could put attack speed, physical damage, armor. You can literally put pretty much anything except AP, mana, and other mana stuff, and you'll be fine. Next is our masteries. For Dr. Mundo, you don't really need anything from the offensive tree. You have a lot of innate damage built into your kit. I mean, your E is a massive AD steroid. Just at max rank level 18, your E will give you 100 AD, which is huge. And then it gives you 1 AD for like every 1% of missing health. So theoretically, you could get like plus 199 AD on a tank. Your Q will deal 25% of a target's max 25% of a target's current health with every infected cleaver that you throw. And it has a minimum damage, so it'll still hurt quite a bit. And your W just is a lot of AoE damage, and it makes for a lot of damage in team fights. That it's just a lot of damage that adds up. Anyway, since we are jungling, we are going to take Tough Skin, which will reduce damage from neutral monsters by 2. Pretty standard stuff. You can take Bladed Armor if you would like. If you think you're going to be ganking more, then it'd be better to take Block and Unyielding. These are really effective for going into the enemy's jungle where you might run into them, or for ganks. And Mundo's primarily really good at power farming. You could power farm so fast on Dr. Mundo. And his ganks are not the greatest, but they can go decent and he can come out on top. So I take these just because I try to power farm on him. I go into the enemy's jungle a bit, and if you do catch him out, you can usually kill him actually. Exceptions being Lee Sin could give you some trouble, Vi could give you some trouble with her percentage health damage, Elise could give you some trouble perhaps, depending on what kind of runes and mastery she has, and Nidalee could give you some trouble. But for a lot of other junglers that are being played right now, especially the tank junglers, you can kill them in the jungle if you catch them, as long as or burn their flash. So I take these and I play a little bit more aggressive than usual. We take Veteran Scars, so we could take a point into Juggernaut for 3% maximum health, so pretty standard there. Next is the decision between Resistance and Hardiness, and Dr. Mundo is already a fantastic champ at being able to survive against heavy ability power teams. Therefore, we don't really need the Resistance and the Evasive for the reduced magical damage, because they're not really going to be our concern. What our concern is about AD, specifically high DPS champions such as AD carries. So we're going to take the Hardiness, then we could get the 10% less damage from critical strikes. And that's pretty essential, and the extra armor will help a little in the jungle, so that's nice. Next, we're going to take Perseverance, but more specifically, we just take that so we can get Second Wind, which is a fantastic mastery on Dr. Mundo because we'll have tons of healing. And it makes you a bait master because you could just run around, you have your ult on, and everyone just thinks that they can kill you with one more hit, and then you just gain so much health back. Anyways, then we go into the utility tree. And in the utility tree, we're going to take Fleet of Foot for that extra move speed, help stick to our targets a little better. And we're going to take Phase Walker. If you don't like Phase Walker for the enhanced recalls, then you could put a point into Scout for the extra trinket range. Both are very, very fine options. Next, we take Summoner's Insight, which is really awesome because it gives us the reduced cooldown on our summoner spells. And with that, we have the Distortion enchantment on our boots, which we can get late game if we don't need home guards, and that's really nice because it'll make our ghost up very often. And I take ghost in the majority of Dr. Mundo jungle games. You can take flash if you'd prefer. If there's like a Jarvan or a Nivea, then I would consider flash, something with walls. But if there's not one of those champions, then ghost is great because you could just stay on top of a enemy champion and keep throwing your infected cleavers, and it just does a lot of damage. I'm sure everyone's dealt with that before. Next, we're going to take Alchemist for the increased potion duration, along with Culinary Master for the biscuits. And the biscuits, I know they give us some mana, but they also give us more health, so that's great. It helps us with our first clear, which is a little bit rough. We also want to take Vampirism for more spell vamp and Runic Affinity for the jungle buff duration. So now we're going to go into a custom game and do our first clear. So you can see how healthy you stay.
Mundo.
There you go. We got our... Oops. There we go. We got our correct masteries and runes. And we're going to load in. So for clearing, usually on most junglers you want to start bot side so then you have your bottom lane to leash for you. But on Dr. Mundo, since he's so high health and has a little bit of an awkward clear where he likes to have more CDR early with the blue buff, we're going to start top side. Basically anytime we're on the blue team, and we're going to start bottom side at any time we're on red team. And what this is going to do is we're going to always start Gromp, because Gromp will give us that extra damage over time that helps with our clear, and that'll be a lot more effective than having the Golem buff, which is the stuns. And since we're starting Gromp, then we only need Infected Cleaver instead of W, since it's single target. If I was starting at these cool guys, the Golems, the Krugs, whatever they are, then I would take Burning Agony. For jungle items, I prefer to go Stalker's Blade for the movement speed steal. It makes it very easy to land those cleavers, and you can just stay on top of people, and that's just gonna help you get on top of them. And when you're on top of them, then you can do a lot of damage with your Burning Agony, and that's really important. Obviously we're going to go Cinderhulk, and since we have Cinderhulk, it'll be a built-in Sunfire Cape, so we can go straight into Spirit Visage or Warmogs or Randuins or whatever we need at that time, and it'll be fantastic. I build full tank on Dr. Mundo. It's pretty much the best build. If you do need a damage item, Leandri's Torment is usually a good option since it works with the double damage on your infected cleaver, so then you can burn them for a little bit of extra health. Kind of just preference. You could also get an Abyssal Scepter as your damage item. That works too.
Mundo never fly coach.
The nice thing about Dr. Mundo is for being so tanky, he also deals an insane amount of damage. So most games you could see yourself doing 30k damage to champions if you're really getting in there, so that's always fun. So we're going to take our Gromp, take W second, and we're going to want to max W in the jungle. And what it does is it lets us clear really fast. And you want your W to be on until the little ones are dead. Once the little ones are dead, you can turn your W off because it takes a lot of health from you. At rank 1, it's taking 10 health per second from you, which is pretty lame, but it's okay. By the time you get to your bottom buff, you'll usually be okay. What I like to do on Dr. Mundo as part of my normal all the time clear, almost, anytime I'm blue side at least, I do it, is I go from here straight to this bush. And when you're in this bush, you can send your cleaver straight over there, and it'll leash the red to the other side. And then you can usually get away with stealing the enemy's red buff, and that's tons of fun. You can usually clear it faster than anyone showing up. Every time I do that, I'd say I run into problems 1 in 10 of the times. So you can see there, I walked there late because I was talking about here. But you actually do finish clearing the jungle at around 253. You have a very fast clear. You can go mid lane, you can go kind of wherever you want level 3. I usually opt for taking a scuttle crab. Anyways, that concludes my video for Off Meta Junglers episode 2 with Dr. Mundo. He's really fun. I hope you guys try him out. He's got a lot of damage for a tank. He's a little like Sejuani in the sense of how much damage he has for being a tank. But in the large scheme of things, he's not Sejuani. He doesn't have that level of CC. He's not Sejuani, but I was only using her to compare for talking about how much of like a clear speed on top of damage he can do to champions. So it's pretty great. You can see he clears really fast. And that concludes the video. If you'd like this, then you can drop a like or subscribe. I plan on having episodes of this once a week, and I'll probably have quite a few episodes in the near future. Thanks for watching. Thank you. Bye.